Welcome to episode 5 in my beginner's guide, how to build a gaming PC video series. If you haven't seen episodes 1 through 4, you can watch them by clicking on the links in the cards up here, or by clicking on the links in the video description. Also in the video description, I have placed timestamps to all the different segments of this video. This video is turning out to be quite a bit longer than I had originally anticipated it to be. So I have the timestamps down there, so if there's something in particular that you want to know, you can jump straight to that. So having said all of that, I do not want this intro to drag on for very long, so we're gonna jump right in. One of our first items of business now is going to be to boot up into our system BIOS or UEFI. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to power our computer on and then rapidly tap the delete key. I believe that is the default key for most all motherboards. And you just kind of keep hitting the delete key until you enter your BIOS or UEFI. Okay, now here we are in the UEFI BIOS of my Asus motherboard. Right now we're in easy mode. The nice thing about the new UEFIs is they allow you to use your mouse inside of them, where you can click on things, whereas in the old days you just had to use your keyboard to navigate around through things. But we got a lot of different information here that you can see. It's telling us the model of our motherboard and the BIOS version we're running. It tells us what our CPU is and the speed it's running at, as well as how much memory we have installed and what memory frequency it is running at. Also, right here in the DRAM status, it's telling us, that I have all 4 DIMM slots populated and how much memory is in each one and what the base frequency is for each one of those modules. This is something you are going to want to pay attention to, especially if you bought memory modules that are advertised at a higher speed than whatever the base clock is. This is an XMP profile. It's called Extreme Memory Profile is what that XMP stands for. And as you can see here, I have a couple different profiles that I can load. Right now I have profile 1 loaded up. We can load profile 2, and you can see that changed my memory speed from 2401 megahertz to 2399. I can also disable that if I want to, but I want my memory to keep running at 2400 megahertz, so that's where I'm going to leave it. So yeah, if you have an Intel-based system, you're going to want to enable your XMP profile for your memory. On the other hand, if you have an AMD-based system, they do things a little bit differently. The XMP profiles, I believe, only work on Intel systems. So to be able to run your RAM at the speed that you purchased, you're going to have to take a look at the memory modules themselves. And on them, you're going to have some numbers written on it. It's going to tell you what the frequency that it is rated at, which mine is 2400 megahertz. And then it's going to have some other numbers after it. And these are called the timing. Mine is 10, 12, 12, and 31. And so what you're going to need to do is write those down or take a picture of them or something. And then you're going to need to go into the advanced section of your UEFI or BIOS. To get into mine, I can hit F7, or I can just click on it with the mouse down here. And then we're going to want to navigate over to the AI tweaker here. This is basically the section where you can overclock things and manually input some different things. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to find the option for DRAM timing control or something to that effect. These are all the timings. So thanks to that XMP profile, those timings are already loaded up. Now my understanding is that on current AMD systems, to be able to run your RAM modules at the frequency and timings that it says that it runs at, you have to input them in manually here into these fields. And once you've manually input all the timings in here, You will of course also need to adjust your DRAM frequency to the advertised frequency of your RAM modules. For first-time builders, there's not a lot in here that you really want to mess with, other than getting your memory dialed in to operate at the advertised frequency and timings that you paid for. The only other thing that I would say that you really may want to mess with is your boot priority or boot order. Down here in the boot option priority menu, I can set which devices I want the computer to try to boot from first. Having the drive with your operating system on it selected first will help to increase your boot times, because it will try to boot directly from the drive with your operating system on it, which we will be doing very shortly after this. As for this ASUS UEFI BIOS, the way I do that is I can go down here to my hard drive BBS priorities, and then this gives me the options for all my different hard drives that are connected to my system, and it asks me which one do I want to be the first hard drive that the system looks for, and the second and the third, and so on. If I had more drives, it would show more drives on here. The other thing it has here is the CD, DVD, ROM drive BBS priorities. I only have one DVD drive connected to my system, so it is the only one on the list. And then when we go back here to the boot priorities menu, I can say which one of those do I want to go first. Do I want my operating system drive here, which is this Intel Volume 1, or do I want it to try to boot from my DVD drive first? And of course I want it to try to boot from my operating system drive before it tries to boot from the CD. Other than that, I don't think you really want to mess with much in here, so at this point we can save our changes and reset and get started installing Windows. So in order to be able to install Windows onto our new computer, we need to have a copy of Windows to install. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a Windows 10 installer media thing. And to do that, we're of course going to need a computer with an internet connection, because what we're going to do here is we are going to search for if I can type Windows 10. And you want to go to this right here. It says download Windows 10 disk image. So we're going to click on that, and then what we're going to want is this guy right here, this installation, create Windows 10 installation media. So we are going to download the tool, and that will end up wherever you download your media to. And so here it is. And so now we will simply double click on that, and it'll bring this up. It says, do you want this to allow this app to make changes? You say yes. And it's just kind of gotta hurry up and wait. Now here is just kind of the the stuff that you have to click accept, all that legal mumbo jumbo that you have to click accept, because if you don't, then they don't allow you to do it. So what you can do is now it's asking us if we want to upgrade this PC or if we want to create installation media, which means we're going to use it on another PC, that's what we want to do. So click that little radio box right there, click next, and then this is just seeing the language and the addition of Windows and all that stuff. And so, this should be fine to just use this recommended option for this PC. The only thing that might change is you get a 32-bit version or something, but most computers I think nowadays are all 64-bit, so I don't think you need to worry about that too much. We're going to click next. We're going to create a USB flash drive. So you need a flash drive that is at least 4 gigabytes in size. Now we're going to click next again, and then we need to plug in a drive, because right now it just sees my external hard drive. So I'm going to plug in my flash drive right now, and we'll click refresh drive list, And this is the one we want, is the mine. On mine, it's going to be drive F. On yours, I don't know what yours is going to be, but it should be there on the list when you plug in your flash drive into your USB port. Click next again, and it will start doing what it's doing. Now you're going to want to make sure that your flash drive is completely empty, that you don't have any important files or anything on it, because doing this obviously erases or deletes everything that's on your flash drive, and it replaces it with this Windows 10 installer file and stuff. So this thing is not progressing very quickly, so I think what I'm going to do for now is stop the recording and come back once we have completed. So the download process took about 6 minutes or so for me to download it with my internet connection. Depending on your connection, your download time will vary. But once it was done downloading, the next thing was it did a quick verification of that download, and then moved into the creating Windows 10 media, as you see here. And that took a lot longer, like about 15 minutes or so to create the media. But it's finishing up right here, as you can see. It's at 99%. Oh, 100%, yay! It says my flash drive is ready. So we'll just go ahead and we'll click finish now. And I think we are now ready to take our flash drive over to our new system and get Windows installed. Let's go. With Windows all installed onto our flash drive, now we can boot up our computer and start installing it. As you can see here, I'm getting my motherboard splash screen to pop up, and hopefully what will happen is that it will try to boot up into something, and it will find the flash drive with the installation files for Windows on it, and will start us up into that, and looks like that's what's happening. So here we are in the Windows screen. Wants to know the language. I of course speak English, and I live in the United States, so all this stuff is set and ready to go. You'll of course want to change it to wherever you live so that you get everything in your native language and whatnot. We'll click next here. And then we've got a couple of options here where we can either repair or install. And of course, since we're building a new machine, we are installing a new copy of Windows. So we are going to install now. This is the Activate Windows screen. When you buy your copy of Windows, you should get a product key that comes with it, which you will enter into this bar right here. Since I've already installed Windows onto this computer once before, I don't need to put that key in again, so I can just click I don't have a product key, and it will take me onto this next screen here. Then this is where you select which version of Windows you'll be installing. I purchased Windows 10 Home because I feel that's all I really need. So now I will click Next. Now this is the End User License Agreement, or EULA. And of course this is the big long bunch of legal mumbo jumbo that if you don't click I accept the license terms, then they don't allow you to install Windows. So you pretty much have to click that, and then you can click Next. Here it's asking if we are upgrading from a previous version of Windows or if we're doing a new installation basically. So we're going to click this one right here. We're installing Windows, and then it will pop up with all the different drives that are attached to our system. I've unhooked all the other drives to my system except for the one that I'm going to be installing Windows onto right now. So it's the only one to choose from. So I'm gonna just click that. For you, you'll want to select obviously whichever drive it is that you want to install to, and then click Next. At this point, pretty much all we can do is sit and wait for Windows to do its thing. So I'll cut here for a little bit and come back once it is done. Okay, so this is the next screen we come to, which it's Cortana, and she wants to help us or something. You can use Cortana if you would like. Me personally, I don't want to, so I'm going to click on disable voice control. All right, so let's start with the region. Is this right? The United States. That is where I'm at. Once again, you will of course want to select wherever you are located in the world, and then click yes, or whatever word in the language you speak means yes. It says, is this the right keyboard layout? United States for me, that is. I want to add a second keyboard layout. No, I don't. So I'm going to skip this step. And once again, it's saying just a moment. All right, you're connected. Now we'll check for any updates. What it's telling me here is that my network adapter is in fact working, that it was able to connect to Microsoft servers. Yours may or may not work. In the past, I have had machines that they worked right out of the box, and other ones where I had to fully install Windows first, then install the drivers for the network adapter before I was able to get online, actually. So in this case right now, it looks like I'm good to go. So hopefully you guys will have the same experience, but if not, don't worry about it. All you got to do is install the driver package that is for your motherboard, which I'll be showing you how to do here in a little while once we get into Windows and everything. So here I need to sign into my Microsoft account, so I'm going to have to say goodbye to you guys for just a minute while I do that, and then we'll come back on the other side. Okay, so I have signed in with my Microsoft account. Then it asks if I want to set a PIN. So for now, I'm not going to worry about that. For the purpose of this video, you may want to set a PIN just to make your account a little more secure. Here's OneDrive, which is Microsoft's cloud service, as you probably know. You can choose, either yes or no on OneDrive. I personally don't ever use it. I use Google Drive, so I'm going to say no for now. You, of course, can say yes if you'd like. Make Cortana your personal assistant. Maybe you guys have used Cortana. Maybe you like her. Me personally, I haven't used her, but the thing I don't like about it is it gives Microsoft access to a lot more of my personal information and stuff like that, which I really don't want them to have. So for now, I am not going to use Cortana. I'm going to say no. If you would like to use her, by all means, say yes. But for me, I am saying no. And then here we go. We've got privacy settings. You can, of course, select whatever you want here. I personally don't want Microsoft to really know anything about me. So, not that I really have anything to hide. It's just that, I, like anyone else, enjoy my privacy and don't necessarily want companies to have access to any and all of my information at any point in time that they want to have it. So for now, this is what I'm going to select, and we'll move on to the next step. And apparently that was the last step. We need to get a few more things polished up for you, and Windows will be all yours. Looking forward to helping out. And now we have come to the "this might take several minutes" screen. So obviously when it tells you don't turn off your PC, it's probably a good idea to follow that advice and not turn it off. So once again, I'll cut away for a little while and come back once things have finished up. Here we are, all booted into Windows now. There was a couple of things that I had to do once we got in, like it asked if I wanted my computer to be discoverable on the network. And of course, on your home network, that's probably something you do want to do, or you want to be able to share files between different computers you have on your network. So you might as well say yes to that. Now what we're going to want to do is get drivers installed. So in order to do that, first, we of course need to get rid of Internet Explorer, because Nobody uses Internet Explorer, right? I mean, the #1 search, I think, on Internet Explorer is Google Chrome. All right, so what we're gonna do here is obviously we're gonna download Google Chrome. So I just searched for Google Chrome, and now I'm going to click download Google Chrome. I don't really care about that. I'm going to uncheck that box, and I'm going to say accept and install. What do you want to do with Chrome setup.exe? Do you want to run it, save it, what? And it's like, we want to run it, man. We want Google Chrome on our system. We of course need to say yes to that so that we can install Chrome. And now it's going to do its thing here, get Chrome installed on our system so that we can use a better browser than Internet Explorer. And there we go. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to need to do a search for your motherboard. Because what we're going to do here is we're going to download the drivers for it from the motherboard manufacturer's website. My board is an Asus Z97 Pro Gamer, and we want to get the drivers. Oops, if I can type, we'll get the drivers for that. And we want to go to, so you're going to want to go to your motherboard manufacturer's website. And right here, mine's an Asus board. I want to go to asus.com, Z97 Pro Gamer right here. And then we're going to go right on down here to where it says driver and tools. And then select our operating system, which is Windows 10, 64-bit. And then we've got some different things here we can choose from. We've got the Intel graphics driver, so this is for your integrated graphics. I'm not going to install that right now because I'm using an NVIDIA GTX 970, so we won't worry about that. BIOS version, we don't need to worry about that either. One of the things you will be wanting, most likely, is the audio driver, so we can click download on that guy. And that should start down here at the bottom. You're also going to want your LAN driver, most likely, although ours is working fine right now, but we'll download the new one just to be safe here. You got your chipset driver, which we can also get, which we'll grab that one. And then the SATA, I don't think we necessarily need that right now. But some of the other drivers that you may want to get depending on your motherboard, I used a ASRock board on a past build where I had a problem with the actual USB 3.0 driver. Whatever USB 3 controller they were using on that particular motherboard, the one that came in the driver package from ASRock actually didn't work. I had to go to the website of the company that manufactured the controller for the USB 3 on that particular motherboard and download a driver directly from them in order to get it to work, because what was happening was whenever I'd plug a USB stick into the USB 3 port, the computer would just freeze. And I wasn't sure why it was doing that, but I felt like it had to be a driver issue. So I re-downloaded the driver from ASRock's website, and that didn't fix the problem. Thankfully, though, in the driver package, it did tell me the name of the company that manufactured the controller for the USB 3 on that motherboard, so I was able to go to their website and download a driver directly from them, which worked. So now that we've downloaded all of the drivers that we want here for this stuff, we're going to go to our download folder, because most likely that's where it has put it. And we're going to need to extract these. So we're going to extract all. And we'll just extract them right here, which will be a great place for them because then we'll be able to find them easily. So I'm just going to go through and extract all of these zipped folders right now. Now that they've all been extracted, we can go into our chipset drivers here. We might as well start there. And I think what I want to do is go to this one, Setup Chipset. And it says we are about to install the following product, the Intel Chipset device software. It is strongly recommended that you exit all programs before continuing. So we might as well close down Chrome and hit next. And once again, we have that good old legal jargon here that we have to accept, otherwise we cannot click this button, which we want to do. And then you want to allow it, so say yes. And the drivers will install. And success. So we can either restart now or restart later. And I think I might as well just click it right now, so let's do it. We are back in Windows, and we're gonna bring our download folder up here, and we're gonna install the next thing on our list, which is our LAN driver. And you wanna come down here to the one that says auto run, I'm pretty sure. Yep, it looks like that is the one we want. We're gonna click that, double click on that, and follow the on-screen instructions. Once it has finished doing its business, you can click finish and exit. And then we will move on to our last one that we've got here, our Realtek audio driver. Which we want to go into the driver folder here and go down to setup. And it says you want to do this. We say yes. And once again, we will follow the on-screen instructions as it walks us through the driver setup. All right, once it's finished, you can say you want to restart your computer now or later. And I always just like to do it now. Why not, right? So we'll click finish and let it restart. Once your computer has restarted, the next thing we want to download and install is our graphics card driver. And of course, that will depend on what graphics card you are using. If you're using an NVIDIA card, you're going to want to go to nvidia.com to download your drivers. And if you have an AMD graphics card, you're going to want to go to amd.com. I have a graphics card drivers video that I made a while back that walks you through the installation process for both NVIDIA and AMD GPUs. You can check that video out by clicking on the cards up in the corner of your screen or by clicking on the link in the video description, and I'll show you exactly what to do to get those drivers installed so that you can take full advantage of all the horsepower your GPU has to offer. Other than that, the only thing you're really going to want to do now is install any programs that you like to use, whether you like to use Microsoft Office or have some other programs you like to use, and then of course install all of your games onto your system, and that will be that. I now believe that some congratulations are in order, because not only have you completed my How to Build a Gaming PC video series, but if you've been following along and building your own PC, you have now completed your PC, and it is now fully assembled and usable and ready for you to game on. So congratulations on your accomplishment, and I think it's about time to go enjoy some quality game time. Before you run off to go play, I would ask that you please click the like button on this video if you enjoyed it, and also share it with any of your friends that might be interested in building their own PC. If you have enjoyed this series, then I would invite you to please subscribe to my channel, where you can watch more videos to come. If you have any questions about things that I may not have touched on in this video series, then please leave a comment in the comment section, and I will do my very best to get back to you there and answer whatever questions you may have. If you just want to say hello in the comments, by all means, say hi, and I'll fire a hello right back to you. For everyone that has made it to this portion of the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me, to watch this video as well as the other videos in this series. And I hope that it has been a, if not an entirely enjoyable experience, that it has been at least educational, that you have learned a lot and are now feeling confident in your ability to go out and build your own gaming PC. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.